Hello, you political cutie pies. Help me out here. I don't understand how atheism can still exist. I suspect it doesn't. I suspect all atheists have converted to a new religion, but just help me understand. Let's talk a little bit about Christopher Hitchens and pregnant men. They are connected. If you don't know how they're connected, I will show you. I blame Christopher Hitchens for the rise of the religion of wokeness. As Robert Cialdini wrote, what's focal is causal. Hitchens was my favorite figure in the New Atheist movement. The movement was popular in the early 2000s through 2013. He, along with Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins and Daniel Dennett, styled themselves as the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. No, I'm not kidding. They are largely to blame for popularizing atheism. We atheists thought that our new anti-religious age would result in a renaissance of reason, a new era where logic ruled and where women didn't have to make those oh-so-oppressive sandwiches. We didn't realize that humans are innately religious, and we didn't realize that by removing God from public life, we created a void that was inevitably filled by far darker forces. In hindsight, nothing else could have been possible. This is always what happens when societies remove God. But we were atheists. We weren't smart. No one smart is an atheist. But this is what happens when you remove God from your society. Pregnant men used to be a punchline. Now it's an unquestionable article of faith in the new religion of wokeness. If this offends you, go away. Why are you even here? The worst part about all of this is that it was done deliberately. Removing God was done deliberately. Replacing Christianity with wokeness was done deliberately. Hey, before we continue, hit that subscribe button. Kick the like button in the teeth. If you subscribe, together you and I can spread dangerous, debunked disinformation across the galaxy. Let's get back into this. The grand purpose, the reason why God had to be removed, was to make the West weak, ugly, defenseless, demoralized, and it has worked better than the culprits could possibly have anticipated. The New Atheist movement was astroturfed into existence specifically to weaken us, and now we live with the Church of Wokeness dominating our society. The Church of Wokeness forces people to believe that it's awesome and groovy to give puberty blockers to kids. They tell us it's totally cool for women to cut their breasts off because they want to become men. It reminds me of a quote from the Bible. You will know them by their fruits. The fruits of atheism are pregnant men and abortion clinics in every city. Atheists can play rhetorical games all day, but ultimately, their people have brought our society to a place that would have been unimaginable 20 years ago. I was there. We could not have imagined this garbage, but this was always the inevitable result. On your screen right now are some images that I want atheists to gaze at and marvel at your utopia. This is what you guys created. Look at this. Look at these things people are wearing. Playing instruments with holes cut out of your COVID mask. There's Dr. Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Look at the way he's dressed on this plane. Look at this. Look at these fucking maniacs. Image after image. These are all absolute bangers. I love every one of these. This is what atheists actually believe. So the next time they want to get on their fucking high horse and make fun of you for believing in a sky daddy, show them these images. This is way crazier than believing in a fucking sky daddy. Let's move on from pregnant men and COVID delirium. Allow me to pose a question that no atheist can possibly answer. What is a woman? I love that question so much. The guy who popularized it is a lackey of Ben Shapiro, so that's unfortunate, but it's a great question because it exposes the worldview of our rational atheist friends. What's a woman? You believe in a sky daddy. Oh yeah? What's a woman? If atheists are so fucking galaxy-brained, They should have no problem with this question. Unfortunately for them, in 2025, the only people who can answer that question are religious people. Islam and Christianity may never be allies, but we all know what a woman is. Atheists will never understand what it's like to be right about this question. Amazing. A common argument made by atheists is, we don't need rules to make us moral. In a previous era, I agreed. I was a dumbass, atheist, dipshit, moron, and I thought this was a convincing argument. But that argument doesn't work anymore. Now, women believe it's totally cool to tear babies limb from limb and vacuum them out of their wombs. Atheists believe it is totally cool to chemically castrate children with puberty blockers. Atheists believe it's totally cool to let drag queens read sex stories to children. Atheists think it's totally cool for children to be strippers. If you think I'm exaggerating, I'm not. There's a child stripper called Desmond is Amazing, and he is celebrated by the left, by atheists. Atheists love Desmond is Amazing. He's their god. Atheists celebrate a career criminal who tortured pregnant women, consumed an overdose of fentanyl, and then died near a police officer. And he was then sanctified. I bet if you go into the Vatican archives, you can find his secret sanctification. Saint Floyd, the Immaculate. If you think the cop killed him, you've been led astray. And if any of us even mentions these obvious facts, we can get canceled from public life. We can get fired from our jobs for stating obvious facts. Telling the truth is now criminalized. This is the world you wanted, atheists. You guys won. Enjoy it. So this classic atheist argument that you don't need religion to be moral, it worked 10 or 20 years ago, but we're living in a much more fallen world now. Atheists like to cry about the Aztecs ripping each other's hearts out of their chests. Yeah, pagans are idiots. That's why God came down to earth in human form and said, okay, you guys like human sacrifice so much. All right, do it to me. Torture me, kill me in a humiliating way, and then that's it. No more blood sacrifices, okay? Deal? But no amount of horror is ever enough for pagans. Wicca chicks go into forests and dance around fires trying to summon demons. Then the religion that must never be named, they smash chickens against rocks because they think they can transfer their sins to the chicken. Pagan sacrifice is alive and well, and atheists are right to be horrified by it. But for some reason, atheists are totally happy about the ultimate form of industrialized pagan child sacrifice, abortion. Another atheist argument that was convincing 20 years ago, they like to say, it is vain to believe that a divine entity cares about you personally. Okay, well, cry harder, cope, seethe. Just because you're too mentally incapable of understanding it doesn't mean the rest of us are. And we're laughing at you. Yet another atheist argument, religion is a painkiller. It's just a painkiller. This seems like wishful thinking done by people who have a poverty of imagination and a poverty of spiritual experiences. There are, indeed, wonderful things on the other side of transcendence, but there is also immense pain. The heart of Christianity is not the elimination of pain. It's the call to pick up your cross and join Christ. If the message of Christ was, hey, let's all feel good all the time, God wouldn't have appeared in human form and agreed to be tortured and murdered. Okay, I'm not even talking to atheists. Like they will never understand this. They're not mentally capable of it. Christianity is not really for weak people. Like, yeah, there are a lot of soft, weak, squishy Christians who are only seeking the pain-killing effects. But that version of Christianity was invented by the same people who astroturfed the New Atheist movement. Who are those people? Well, if you look up the early life of Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris, you'll find it in there. You'll find the word that we can't say on YouTube. Atheists also like to say that religion is dying as science and philosophy replace it. This might be true. But the zeitgeist is shifting. More people are becoming Christian, and particularly Latin Mass Catholics and Orthodox. With any luck, this trend will continue for long enough to make Western nations theocracies again. Separation of church and state is garbage, and it was always designed to separate us from Christ. It's time to go in the other direction. Oh, by the way, if there are any atheists listening to this, you guys don't have to worry. Americans will never be ready for this conversation. We will not become a theocracy because you guys won. Freedom is too much. It's too seductive. And it is a more holy thing in the mind of Americans than Jesus Christ. So you guys win. Here's another argument. I'm going to pull it directly from Christopher Hitchens, one of my favorite writers. Religion does not, and in the end, I'm not going to do the accent. Religion does not, and in the end cannot, be content with its own marvelous claims and sublime assurances. It must seek to interfere with the lives of non-believers or heretics or adherents of other faiths. It may speak about bliss in the next world, but it wants power in this one. This was a convincing argument a long time ago for people who were as stupid as I was. But it does not work anymore in the era of the Church of Woke. As it turns out, the rational paradise promised to us by people like Hitchens never came about. Instead, the stabilizing influence of Christianity was replaced in the West by another religion, an altogether stupider one. A religion where little boys should feel ashamed of themselves. A religion where natural, rambunctious, boyish behavior is toxic and we need to put you on drugs so you don't have too much energy. A religion where white people need to endlessly beg forgiveness for the supposed crimes of their ancestors and for something called privilege. A religion where boys should become girls and girls should become boys. A religion where mothers should shun childbirth and a loving family and replace it with some bullshit office job and a boss who doesn't care at all about her. A religion where men physically assault women in a boxing ring because they decided to call themselves by a female name because they couldn't hack it in men's sports, and atheists cheer this on. A religion where we have to call women birthing persons because we don't even know how to define male versus female anymore. Great fucking job, atheists. Thank you for leaving us with this garbage. We shall know them by their fruits, and the fruits of atheism are disgusting. So if you want to make America a theocracy again, just hit that subscribe button. We'll make it happen.